Talk about that man, Pookie. Talk about Gardner Minshew.
Man, a lot of people. I was watching the first game of last year with the Jaguars versus the Chiefs, and I actually thought it was an evenly matched game. And I saw Nick Foles go down, and I was like, "Oh fuck, who is this guy with a Fu Manchu mustache running onto the field? What is he gonna do?" And sure enough, Gardner Minshew has shown flashes, and a lot of people were pegging the Jaguars to be one of the teams in contention for the number one pick. While they do have some holes in their roster, I think that you can't count out Gardner Minshew. He's confident, he's cockfident, and he carries his load. And, you know, if I was pegging any quarterback to make a big second-year jump, I might make that choice for him just because of how well he played at times last season. I know that he got benched for Nick Foles, but that was more of a cap casualty or an action caused by the salary cap. So I really think that Gardner Minshew has a chance to make an impression on this league. On defense, they were one of the worst ranked run defenses in the NFL last year. They had Yannick Ngakoue. He's not going to fucking play for him anymore. You know what I mean? They drafted Clayvon Chasen and Josh Allen. So those are two really good players. Josh Allen is underrated. He had over 10 sacks as a rookie. So it's like sacks can be an overrated statistic, but Josh Allen still grades out really well in other pass rush metrics. Plus, didn't they add it was a C.J. Henderson to their secondary?
Yes.
To replace Jalen Ramsey. So while the Jaguars may be a few years away from contention, I don't think that they're going to be the team that gets the number one pick.
They also got one of the sexiest quarterbacks in the draft, Jake Luton from Oregon State. Pookie, let me give you – I don't even know if this falls in the physics, this falls in the biology. Let me give you a quick lesson real quick. Here's what happened. You said their defense has holes. Let me tell you about what happens to holes. They get effed. All right? That's what happens to holes. That team is bad, and don't let anything they do in the draft tell you otherwise. C.J. Henderson is a good player, strong cornerback out of Florida. That team ain't worth a damn. That team is right there for the number one pick. They don't want to win. They don't want to win. They have Gardner Minshew. Maybe he makes some strides. Their quarterback is not playing for them right now. Their quarterback is playing up the road in Clemson, South Carolina. That team sucks.
You're going to count Gardner Minshew out of the fold like that.
Yes, that team sucks. And even if he's decent, it won't matter. All right. Drew, that team's bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying anything just because of the simple fact that, like, the best thing about the Jacksonville Jaguars this upcoming season is still that they have, like, one of the biggest TVs in their stadium. That's really the only positive thing I have to say about them.
Yeah, so they can watch other games.
They have to come to the stadium.
That team is so bad, they actually put on the table a proposal to play half their games in London. They already play half their games in London pretty much. I feel like they're in London every other week.
What is Leonard Fournette going to do for the Jags? Is he going to move to London and just become a Brit?
They didn't pick up his fifth-year option. He won't be there next year.
Is Leonard Fournette a bust?
Yes.
For where he was drafted?
Yeah, for where he was drafted.
Senor.
You don't think he can rejuvenate his career?
He could with another team that fits his style. He could go to the 49ers and probably do pretty well. I think they fit his style more. Or the Titans. Honestly, I thought if the Titans could get him on a team deal.
Don't say that again. Don't give them two big-ass fucking running backs.
SEC running backs too, baby. I thought but Derrick Henry's the one who ruined your dreams. You'd be better off with Leonard Fournette.
All right, moving on to the Texans here.
I don't
want to talk about that.
We should have been talking about the Jaguars and Texans on a Thursday night because it seems like they play every Thursday night.
Exactly.
If I have to watch one more Texans-Jaguars game on
listen, don't worry. The only AFC South game is the Colts Titans. Sorry, so it'll be a better game. Hopefully, it won't be no Jags. Whatever. game. It'll be a better game. Calm down.
I really do think in all of our years watching football, if you could take like the worst matchup that we've ever had, the one that you wish you never had to see. Like, honestly, I'm not even sure how many people would jump out of quarantine to go watch that game. If the Titans and the Jaguars, the Titans are better now, but when the Titans and Jaguars would meet on Thursday nights, no one wanted to watch that.
During the color rush uniforms
That's
era.
right. Those mustard colors.
The Jaguars had that fucking gold, brown, shit-colored uniform. And, it was just god-awful television. They should have put Booger McFarland on that fucking game.
Hey, if we're talking about god-awful and we're talking about the AFC South, we have to talk about Bill O'Brien's damn moves this offseason. Who is letting him make these moves? I know he's the GM for the team and the head coach, but my gosh. How do you trade DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson and like a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick? And that's all you get in return for the top one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL right now in the past couple of years, and then he probably will be there for the next, like, I would say 4 years probably.
I want to come to Bill O'Brien's rescue real quick because I feel like there maybe are a couple details we don't for sure know about. Where you should criticize him is you have to make your relationship work with DeAndre Hopkins, and it didn't, and that's why I had heard there was no way he was going to play for them next year. He was going to get traded. So then you think, surely somebody else gave them a better offer than what the Cardinals got. I would think maybe that the only reason why they let him go to the Cardinals for what they got in return is because the other teams that were offering were teams that directly threatened the Texans. And they're like, we don't want to ship him off to a team that we have to play or might see in the playoffs. You ship him off to Arizona. But
100%.
Drew, since the day that deal was made, in hindsight, no one can still make sense of it. So, you're right.
And I think also it doesn't help with the Bills trading for Diggs and what they got in return for trading for Diggs with the first round and a bunch of picks. That doesn't help that trade. It made that trade look really bad. And I think David Johnson, who actually is a really good running back, I think last season he was injured pretty much for the second half of the year and only used as a receiving threat. I still think he's probably got a year or two left of decent to good running back talent if he doesn't get injured again. So, I don't think he's a bad pickup for the Texans. I just think that, like, Bill O'Brien doesn't care about draft picks. He just trades for people. He doesn't care about drafting. He wants to get as many people in as possible.
Can't blame.
Hey, Pookie, tell me about the Titans. How are they going to do this year?
Well, the Titans, they're obviously coming off an AFC championship run. They have a no-name success on defense, so they have a bunch of guys that aren't really counted as the best defenders in football, but they do have some really good and talented players. They're loaded on the back end of it. They have Kenny Vaccaro, Kevin Byard, Adoree Jackson, and Malcolm Butler. So they have a really good secondary. They're able to cover guys and present a matchup problem that a lot of teams can't really apply to other teams in their games. They also have a smash mouth run game with Taylor Lewan, Derrick Henry, and Ben Jones. So they have some big offensive linemen and an even bigger running back. So it's really hard to stop them from being more physical than you because they have the size advantage. My question for the Titans is, can Tannehill live up to that contract? Will he show that he is really a franchise quarterback, or will he get last year prove to be a fluke, sort of like an Alan Nick Foles sort of situation?
I love Mike Vrabel. Not big on the Titans because they ended my playoff aspirations this year. Just like Derrick Henry ended your fantasy aspirations this year, Drew. They got a lot going for them. You lose Jack Conklin in free agency, but you do pick up Isaiah Wilson in the draft, one of the better tackles available. Signing Ryan Tannehill to a 4-year, $118 million deal, and I didn't even do my research. That deal just surprised me. I remembered off the top of my head. Derrick Henry's on the tag, isn't he?
Yeah, they tagged him.
So that goes back to our running back argument. as in, plug and play maybe. Maybe you go get Leonard Fournette on a cheaper deal, bring him in, let Henry walk after this year. I don't know. Tannehill, though, just does not strike me as a $118 million guy. I feel like you could plug and play in quarterback better. You could plug and play running back. So it's tricky. I don't know. I'm not sold on that draft, though.
I will say this, though, about the Titans. A.J. Brown, he is – I know you guys don't really like him. He's an Ole Miss dude. But he is a tank. He was hard to tackle at the end of last year. He was killing people. He also killed me in a fantasy game towards the end of the year. So he's one of those weapons. They have some big-ass dudes on the offensive side of the ball that are tough to tackle and can make some plays. That makes Tannehill's job a lot easier.
Yeah, I think they got a solid team. Can Tannehill win you a game? It's like the same question with Jimmy G.
Yeah.
But he's got money. And it goes a long way. What, Pookie?
On to the Colts.
Hey. All right. Floor is yours, Drew.
Okay, before I didn't want to spill all my beans about my other three opponents, but here's the deal. I don't remember who I was talking to earlier this year when free agency first started. The Jags suck. We've already established that. They're not going to be great. It is what it is. The Texans, they lost D-Hop. I don't have to play one of the best receivers twice a year who kills the Colts every year we play him. Don't have to play him. The Texans probably got weaker in their whole receiving core. They did add some weapons. They have 3 slot receivers and Will Fuller, Kenny Stills, and now they signed Randall Cobb. Offensively, they're not great. Defensively, they don't scare me as well. J.J. Watt, when healthy, scares the shit out of me, but we also have one of the most dominant O-lines in the league. And then you look at the Titans are probably our biggest competitor right now. They lose Jack Conklin on a run-first offense. Sign me up. Sign me up 100%. Each team in our division got weaker, and I believe we got stronger. You trade for DeVorce Buckner, who will help with the run game against the Titans. And if the Jags want to run the ball with Leonard Fournette, that's fine. But he helps with that. We then went out and signed Phillip Rivers, which was our biggest thing, was our quarterback position sucked. Jacoby Brissett, okay, but he was not great. I never thought he was going to lead us to a Super Bowl. I thought he was going to at least lead us to a playoff berth. He failed me. I love him as a backup. He costs too much right now, but I believe he's worth maybe like a second-round pick, something else. It is what it is. But I'd love to have a great backup. If Phillip's doing terrible, throw him in there. If Phillip gets hurt, we have one of the better backups in the league. Then you go out in the draft, and we killed it. Freaking the GM, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. For the GM for the Colts.
Chris Ballard,
yeah. I couldn't think of his name for the life of me.
I know your own game better than you do.
Has killed it. I mean, killed it in the last draft since he's been there. This year he goes out and get Jonathan Taylor, just adds a whole bunch of talent to the running game right there, because he's probably, honestly, like a year ago, he was probably one of the best running backs to come out of this draft class. And we got him as like the 3rd or 4th running back taken this year. Great value. We go out and sign Michael Pittman Jr. Don't know a lot about him, but I know he's tall as fuck, and he goes up and wins jump balls. And that's what we need, because we never had that. We use that for tight ends, and sorry, baby hands, Jack Doyle, you're not winning all those. But he's a great tight end. I love him. He's a great tight end. T.Y. Hilton says he wants to end his career with the Colts, wants to sign an extension for however long the Colts want to give him. And after the extension's done, he's going to be done with his career. So hopefully we sign him for 4 years, because I love that guy. But I think we continue to we develop on defense. I hate that they declined Malik Hooker's rookie deal. They declined his 5th-year option. I think he was great, but I also think that maybe he was injured a lot, so maybe they were kind of looking for someone more reliable to stay on the field. So there's a lot of positives with the Colts. I think with the whole coronavirus, Phillip Rivers has really taken a lead in leading meetings at the moment, I believe, for the Colts. So I think with his leadership, with the additions on defense, we have one of the scarier defensive lines that's undervalued. Not like as in big name guys. We have a pretty decent D line that's kind of scary, but is not super like oh, we have Nick Bosa and all these guys. We have small guys that are going to do really good, do their job. We have a great O-line. And I'm tired. I'm tired of the disrespect the Colts are getting this offseason. Tired of it. Okay, we're winning this damn division, whether I got to play for them or not. Go Colts, baby.
What disrespect are they getting?
Listen, man, there's some people who are giving us a lot of respect. Okay, we're projected to win division. We're projected to get like 8 wins or whatever. But there's some people out here calling us 6-10, 5-11. I'm telling you right now, probably 9-7, maybe 10-6.
You can't be in the AFC South unless you go 9-7 or less.
Exactly. That's all we need. That's all we need. One playoff game, home playoff game, probably lose to maybe we might win it. Honestly, the Colts have known to win one playoff game, lose in the divisional round. I'll be okay with it.
Pookie, I'll let you have the last word. I want to get in on the Colts real quick. Ever since Chris Ballard took over, that team's just trending upwards. And, you've had some unfortunate cases with Luck retiring and others. Vinatieri, unfortunately, one of the greatest kickers of our time, declining, and you're seeing it in real time. It sucks. The hiring of Frank Reich, fantastic. Quentin Nelson's one of my favorite players ever. All right. Dude is a straight monster and was the best player in the draft when he was, we don't talk about offensive guards, but he was the best. Phillip Rivers, I don't know how much better he makes this team relative to, if Jacoby Brissett was still playing. I would say if you had a quarterback, if Andrew Luck was on this roster right now, I like them over the Ravens, and they're just below the Chiefs, in my opinion, in terms of the AFC totem pole. I'm that high on that team, and I love the direction they're trending. Drew, you didn't even did you mention Jacob Eason?
I did not, but I've talked about him in the past episode, so I didn't really want to go in depth in there.
So we don't exactly know what the Colts have in Jacob Eason, but he's got, talent. The talent's there, but there's so much more into being a pro than just the talent. So can he make it work? He's got the best scenario with Phillip Rivers in front of him for a year and then Frank Reich in his ear. I mean, come on. The best thing about Phillip Rivers is he has experience leading large meetings in rooms because he has more kids than will be in the room for offensive meetings. All right.
He's trying to make his own
he's adding another one. I think they might be adding twins. So I'm not sure, but
he's trying to make his own starting roster.
He's got one. All right. And Michael Pittman Jr. is huge. Not just tall, he's physical, man. He'll go up and win balls. So things are looking up for the Colts. Over-unders at 8.5. Give me over any day of the week. Solid team. Pookie, get them.
Well, I like the Colts and what they've been able to do. They have Justin Hughes, DeForest Buckner. They have Darius Leonard and Malik Hooker are still there. I think that they all have something to prove. And that you can't count out that defense. They also added Michael Pittman, and they still have Paris Campbell from the previous draft, who I'm very high on. I think that Paris Campbell can tear up the league if given the opportunity, because I saw some of his tape at Ohio State, and he is just ridiculous. He's a scoring machine. And I think that if they start to use him, that they'll be well rewarded with the benefits of a Paris Campbell type of player. My question is can Rivers still play? I know that he's out of his prime. He did play some solid football in Los Angeles last year, but not as much so as you would like to see or would be encouraging to have on your roster. I will say this, the AFC South plays the NFC North and the AFC North. So with the NFC North, I could see the Colts going 2-2, two losses against the Vikings, 2 wins against the Lions and Bears, just as I'm projecting it. Now, you could make a case for them beating the Vikings or Packers, but if they improve that much over this season. With the AFC North, they can either end up 1-3, 2-2, or 3-1. It's all dependent on how Frank Reich helps his team make the step in the next year. But you could easily see them going 1-3 against the AFC North if the Browns show up to play. The Steelers have a great defense, and the Ravens, we've already talked about them and how great they are. Still, I think that the Colts do have a chance at a wild card spot this season, if not a low record winning division scenario, because the AFC South, they always beat each other up a whole lot, so it's hard to tell who's going to win that division. It's a real crapshoot.
Drew, you ready for this? First big bet. we're going to make on this podcast right here. Breaking news, sound the alarms, get ready to document this in real time. What do we got here? We got Indianapolis at home week 9 against the Baltimore Ravens. Mark it down right now. The Indianapolis Colts win that game.
Whoa!
I'm willing to put anything on the line, as in not any of my possessions, but you guys can make me do whatever if you want to take that bet. It's like a
Can we do it? Can we make you do it
wheel of
live on
shame
the
punishment. I will take it on.
live on the podcast?
Yeah, anything. We can film it. We can put it. But I will.
You
whatever.
said that game's in Baltimore, right?
No, it's in Indianapolis.
Ooh. If it was in Baltimore, 100% would take Baltimore because we suck in Baltimore. But Indianapolis is – I'll say this. Indianapolis is not a tough place to go play and win at. But I'll be honest with you. Our fans do not get loud, rowdy, and proud. We are very we just observe the game. But I will say that does give us an advantage playing in the Dome. Lucas Oil is a beautiful stadium. Love it. But again, that'll be a tough game to win. I do think we have some weapons on defense with Darius Leonard and Bobby O'Reilly. Pat McAfee said he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Watch out. But those guys are guys that can spy on Lamar Jackson, and I think that adds a real value to being able to guard Lamar. And I think it's one big thing that not every team has, but I think we're starting to see more teams draft linebackers who are more athletic and not just the fill the hole type of guys. So, but I think we have one of the best in Darius Leonard to be able to stop Lamar.
I'm just riding with the best beard in football, Frank Reich. Put all my eggs in that basket.
Great head coach. I love Frank. I can't wait for Peyton to take over the job one day. Peyton Manning, head coach of the Colts, coming soon.
So, Pookie, get in your head. Start thinking about things. Think of your worst ideas. Put them on Twitter. Poll question, like, what's the best punishment? Think of stuff. I'm telling you right now.
You're gonna get fucked on this one, Sandy. I'm gonna make you do some wild shit.
So, are you taking this?
What happens to me if I lose?
Well, that's something I'll have to discuss too. I may just fall on the sword here and say I'm the only one subject to punishment because I'm going out here on this one. But we'll talk. We can talk about it in later shows.
I'm just gonna observe it because it has to do with my team. So it kind of feel like I can't. It's a lose here. If the Colts lose, I'm fucked. If the Colts win, I'm fucked. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just showing support for my guy Drew and my guy Frank and Quentin. And Adam Vinatieri, of course.
Hey, I love the bet, but we'll see. Well, the Colts did draft a kicker for you, my guy. No, when we signed Blankenship out of Georgia. So there will be a competition for at least a backup role in Indianapolis for years to come. So can't wait for Goggles to win the job.
It's like Aguayo when he got drafted. Things just went downhill. He had a weird form. Okay, I'm not going to break down kickers on this particular podcast. I'm not entirely sold on Blankenship, but his stats are great. Obviously, I cheer for every kicker, honestly. I never like to see anyone miss unless they're playing the Pats. And even then, it even is sometimes hard to watch people miss, like even if they're playing your favorite team. So hopefully he does great. And hopefully Vinatieri, for whatever chance he gets to go out there and kick, does well. But not the worst kicker to get in free agency. You didn't waste a draft pick on Blankenship, so it works out. You didn't take a no-name out of Marshall.
No, and then there's that guy Chase McLaughlin, the dude who kicked for the Niners.
Yeah.
A couple weeks. That's the battle that's going to happen between those two.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad we didn't pick a racist kicker out of Marshall.
All right. Next week, it's my week. AFC East week. I'm excited.
And me and Pookie are going to destroy the Pats next week.
Not if I destroy him first. He's like, best offseason acquisition was the dog. Hey, Pookie, real talk. Are we in or out? Are we doing this?
We're doing this.
Take
right.
it.
We're doing
I got
this.
it down.
Week 2020 NFL season. I'm saying the Indianapolis Colts beat the Baltimore Ravens at home.
Just straight up. No over, under, no lines. Just
win.
Straight up.
It's a win.
A win's a win. All right.
So, hey, and for you guys listening at home, if you have any suggestions, You should have our phone numbers. We're popular people. If you don't, we give out our Twitter. Hit us up on Twitter. Suggestions, anything. I'm willing to take it. I ride for the Colts, all right? I used to ride for the Colts in my childhood. I ride for them right now. So